Hello and welcome to this introduction to Flash tutorial. Today I'm going to introduce you to the features of Flash, the drawings and how to operate around this workspace, and what are the basic tools that you need to look at, what are the major ones, and how do you use keyframing, how to use this timeline, how to use how can you change the total speed and frames per second rate of your animation, and how you can import any other external images into your library and use them in your animation. So let's start. So when you open Flash, basically you should be able to see screen something like this. And if you're not happy with this document, the size of this document, then when you create the document, it shows this option which I'm going to display to you now. Go to File and New, and then ActionScript 3.0. Here you will see you are presented with these options, which is the width and height, the foremost. I do not like if 550 is too wide for me. I need a smaller one, so I can just change from here. In terms of pixels, if I need a more wider screen, I can change it to, let's say, 730, and height to maybe 450 pixels. And then the frame rate, even though these adjustments I can make even afterwards when I've created my document, let's say frame rate I'll keep to 7 frames per second, and the background color, let's say something like this. And okay, when you do this, you will be presented with a screen something like this. You can see it's slightly more wider and a little more longer in height, and it has this background because I've selected this when I was actually creating this document. So now I can modify all this by even after the document has been created from here. So I'll change this to back to 500 by 400 because I like it this way. I hope you understood how to change the size of your document. I'll keep the background to white by default, and here we are now again. Now when it comes to drawings, there are two types of drawings which you can create in Flash. One is object drawing and one is shape drawing. So when you click on most of these tools, they can actually uh, help you create drawings in the object mode and drawings in the shape mode. So the oval tool is where we'll start with. If I select something over here like oval tool, and this is the icon I'm going to look at, if it is selected, because right now it's selected, it is in object drawing mode, and if you select it again, it's like a checkbox, it is unselected, so it's shape drawing mode now. So let me just show you what is shape drawing, what is object drawing. I'll create a smiley over here, something like a smiley, uh, and then also I'll create an identical shape, but I'll uncheck now. So I'll come out of object drawing mode. Before it was checked and now it is unchecked, and I'll create something similar. So both of these drawings look very similar, and if you can go back and select this selection tool, and the shortcut is V. Even if you don't want to go take your mouse over there, you can type V on your keyboard and it will be selected. Now using the selection tool, if you select this object drawing, you can select the whole object drawing in one click. So let me just write this over here for convenience, so we remember this is object drawing and this is shape drawing basically. So shape drawing. So we've got two types of drawings. One is object and the other one is shape. Even though both of them may look same to you, there is a difference. The shape drawing, you can select the inner part of it independently of the outer part. So if you see now, I have selected the inner core and I can take it out also. I can move it inside, back. I can do whatever I want with it. So undo by Control Z, and then I can select the only border if I like. So you see, if I make this selection, only the border is selected in this case. So this is shape drawing. On the other hand, this is object drawing, which is selected as a whole at one time. Now the purpose of having these two are many. One of the foremost is, For example, when you are working with many shapes, many drawings, many characters together, by accident if you just click like this and you delete something, then it is gone. Okay, and you obviously can recover it if you've saved the previous version, or you can do undo, but even by mistake you can avoid this. So that's why the purpose of these two different kinds of drawings were there. Secondly, you can have this selection mistake. For example, I do this selection, so I've selected this object here and also this. So if I want to delete this object, I want to get rid of this or move somewhere, so I have selected both of these things. So to avoid these mistakes, we have two different drawing modes. One is shape drawing, one is the other one is object drawing. Again, how can you come into object drawing mode? Make sure when you select any of these tools, this small like golf ball is selected, it is checked. If it is checked, now you are in object drawing mode. It is unselected, you are in shape drawing mode. Okay, now the other thing is, this shape drawing has inside it a shape drawing itself. This object drawing, it's like an enclosure of shape drawing. Inside it, it has nothing but a shape drawing. Let me show you. Right now I am on the scene 1. This is where you are shown your navigation, where you are right now in the Flash document. You can be inside a Flash document. There can be a movie clip, there can be a graphic, there can be image, there can be object. So this place shows you where you are right now. So I'm in the main scene 1. Now if I click on any object and I double click it, I will go inside that object. So now the other items on the stage are now dim. I cannot, as you can see, I cannot select them by this click. So I can click here and there, but I cannot select them because I'm not in the scene 1. I'm in the object drawing mode, and this is where the object drawing is. Now inside drawing object mode, this whole object is available to me as a shape. So I can click inside and I can take it outside and do whatever I like as a shape, or I can click on the border, or I can do anything I like as whatever I am able to do with a shape. Same thing I can do with an object, only that I need to double click it and go inside. So that's the differences between object drawing and shape drawing. Now secondly, let me show you what are keystrokes. So let's say I select another color and I'll draw something very similar, something like a very basic structure for smiley, and now I want to learn what are strokes. Okay, so what are strokes? So let us change the color of this text now to something which we can see more easily. So what are strokes? The strokes are basically the borders width. How broad are these borders? So the border over here right now of this shape is actually very small. So the border itself is very small, and I've done this using the shape drawing mode, and I need to be doing this in the object drawing mode. So what I'll do, I'll go back over here, make sure the object drawing is selected, and draw this. Okay, so yeah, give it the proper color which I selected before, something like that, yellowish, so it looks like a smiley. So this smiley, this selection tool back again, this smiley has a border and then an inner part. So let's go to the properties. Here as well I can change the color. Also these are the two fill and stroke. Fill means the inside color, stroke means the outside border color. I can change these same properties from here also, but make sure you have clicked the object, otherwise you won't see those properties. So make sure you have selected the selection tool or have pressed V, then select this object, then go to properties, and now you can change their colors, border color which is the stroke color, or the fill color. Now the stroke is the border, this border. So how broad is it right now? We have defined it 3, so I can enter a number, either 5, that would make it broader. Press enter, you see it is now broader, or I can slide this to something more broad, or bring it back. This is what the border helps me do. So let me just make it something like this. So you can also write in points. So I've got its border to 2.5. That's what I've done. Okay. So using the same principle as stroke, I want to draw eyes. You know, eyes, what they are consisting of, they're basically white outer and black inner. So instead of drawing two circles, which is white outer circle, black inner circle, to create an eye, I will use strokes, and I will create a little broader stroke so that white is the border and black is the inner. So let's see how we can do this. Click on this guy again, this oval. So the stroke should be white, which means the outer, and inner should be black. So I'll select any black and I'll draw it over here. And once I draw, make sure in the object drawing mode, once I draw the eye, something like this, you'll see the stroke is less than what you would normally imagine an eye to have. So I'll increase it a little to maybe something like this, to 8.27 or 9, whatever. So let's, if you are not able to control it correctly, you can just write the number and that would do the job for you. So once this is done, you can select it, Control C and Control V, or just right click and do copy as you like. So Control V. By the way, it's very important and recommended to use mouse, otherwise it's very difficult to use a trackpad and do all these design and stuff. So this is the exact copy. I did Control C and Control V. Now what I need over here is a smile like this, a curve over here. So we can use this tool again and create oval like this, which looks like as if it's smiling. Make sure it has the outer as black and inner as the same circle color, which is this yellow. And this black has to be a little less broad. It should not be that broad. So let's make it like something 2 or 3. Yeah, that looks better. And then you can modify it as long as you have clicked over it. You can modify its position, etc., or you can modify its attributes. So a little longer or a little wider, whatever you like, you can modify. So now this is a smiley's smile over here. The lower part I'm going to retain and the top part I'm going to get rid of. And fortunately, since this is a object drawing mode, I'll double click it. This means I'm inside now drawing object, and I'll highlight the top part. Since I've double clicked only this object, the other objects I have not highlighted even now. You see, even though I've selected this, only this inner circle is highlighted because I'm in the object drawing mode of this object. So I double clicked, came inside, and now I will select the top half and I'll delete, and that top half is deleted now, and I go back. So now you can see the smiley is there, and I can adjust the smile a little so it looks like a real smiley. And then I can obviously adjust the position of these eyes if you like. Alright, so this is something which creates my smiley. Now the next thing I want to do, I'll go back to the frames. I'll create a new keyframe, and then now what I would like to do is to create copies of these smileys and change their colors. So what will I do now? These are strokes, and I'll just delete this now, and I'll keep it there the same position, only the color I will change. So the color is now in this case green, and then insert keyframe, will copy from before whatever there was, and now I can change the color to something else, insert keyframe again, which will copy whatever there was in the previous frame, and I'll do this pink or purple, again insert keyframe, change the color to something like this, and you can keep doing that for many colors, insert keyframe, and you can keep doing that for the other types of colors also. By the way, I can show you now. Insert keyframes and select these gradients, let's say this reddish or this. So what keyframes do, they change something from the last frame. What exactly do they change? Let us come back to it in a minute. Something like this. And now we can copy these individual frames also. So let's say we copy them from here. Right click, copy frames, and then paste them over here. Paste frames. Why is this a little more frames? Because I selected from the blanks also. I also copied blank frames, which I should not have. So right click, paste, and those blank frames are coming up as filled frames now because they're part of the copy. And I'll remove this. So now when you see when this runs in animation, it works like this. So you press enter, you'll see the colors are changing. It looks cool. It looks like an anime. The image is still there, it's just changing its color. Okay, so now this was about shape drawing and object drawing and how to use keyframes. Let us also learn what is tweening, what is the motion, what is animation. So the animation is basically when you define a start point and the end point of an object which is moving. So let's say in the animation, this object can start moving from right and slowly to the left. This in 5 frames, for example, or from top to bottom, or bottom to left, whatever, or maybe in the circular direction, whatever you like. But an animation can be one layer should have one character animation at a time. So if you have, like, for example, 3 smileys, 3 different characters on one layer, and you want all of them to have different direction of animation, then you want to have different layers. So for example, I will now do what? I'll create a new keyframe, and here I'll make the background of this guy be something like this, greenish, and I'll select this is green, and I have 3 layers total: green, blue, and it's, let's say, yellow. And notice these layers created now, just now, they have empty frames from 1st till 35, from 1st till because they have nothing in them, inside them. The only layer which has objects is green layer, because we started on this from beginning, even though the name we only changed now. So it has some objects, some drawing, something changing, but the other 2 layers have nothing up till now. So it's perfectly okay if a layer has nothing up till 5 seconds or 10 seconds, because the other layers are having something else. Okay, so what I'll do now on this keyframe, I'll make this a keyframe by right click, insert keyframe, right click, insert keyframe on the other 2 layers also. The reason I'm doing this is at this point I will show 3 different smileys, and I will move them in like clockwise direction in different layers. Why in different layers? Because all the animation in one layer has to be only on one object in one direction. So all of these will be in different directions and they will be different objects, so that's why we need different layers. So let's copy this and paste this in blue and change its color. So in blue there is nothing, so I clicked here, copied this, Control C, click on the blue one, there is nothing, therefore nothing on the stage is highlighted, and then now click Control V. Okay, and when you click on Control V, make sure you place it in the same position as the green one on top of it. It's not on this layer, it's in the layer below. And then yellow also copy, and you copied already. When you see this plus sign near the mouse, you can now move wherever you like the smiley. So now the smiley is over here, the background is supposed to be yellow. Let's select the inner color to yellow. For the blue, we've done the copying. Let's select the inner to be blue, something like this. And for green, the selection is actually green already. The only thing is the top layer shows you the object at nearer to you. The one below it shows the object behind it. So yellow has blue behind it, and behind blue there is green. So let's change these positions of these objects. So let's say yellow. I'll click on yellow and change it, bring it over here. Behind it, as I said, it's blue. We'll click on blue only and change its position to over here, and then we'll click on green and then we'll change its position to here. So now we have three objects in three different layers. So if you click on the layers frame, it will show you what is in that frame at that point. At this point on this frame there is yellow only because it's a yellow layer which we just did. At this frame, the blue layer, there's blue smiley only, and at the green layer there's green smiley only. So we are okay. Now I want to rotate them anti-clockwise from 36 to, let's say, 60. So I'll select these layers frames together, right click, I'll say insert frame. So all these will live in the animation from 35 till 60 frames. And by the way, since when I started I made it 7 frames per second, if I click this I can change it now to 6 frames per second. So now it is telling me that my total animation duration is 9.8 seconds. So if you add few more frames over here, it will modify itself. The total animation timeline is now 10.7 seconds because more frames were added. So this is basically my timeline. So according to this speed, which is 6 frames per second, 65 is 10.3 seconds. Okay. So now 20.7 seconds, sorry. So now what I should be doing, I will now use motion tweening. For motion tweening, which means animation, if you want to move an object, it should have start time, start position and end position. So the start position of all of these three smileys we have defined. This is the start position of yellow, this is the start position of blue, this is the start position of green. But where should it finish when it starts moving? So now I'm gonna define the motion tween first of the yellow smiley. I select this, make sure you're doing the V selection tool, select it like this, right click and say create motion tween. It will give you a warning that Flash has to convert this to a symbol because a symbol only and only symbol can be used in animation, and you should say okay, please go ahead, convert this to a symbol. So now it's a symbol, and then you've defined the start point and you should be defining the end point. So let's say I can define the end point at 65 or even at 66. If I create right click, insert keyframe and position. So on this position exactly it should move somewhere else. Where else? So let's drag and drop this somewhere else. It should come here. So I've dropped this a little down because the motion I want to be doing in a little circular way. So the reason it is empty, the other two are not here, because I created a new keyframe, and at this time at number 66 there is nothing else on the other two layers, so I can do this modification conveniently. Now keep clicking over here, and when you take your mouse near to this motion tween path, it will not be visible when this application is executed or played in the browser or in the Flash player, but it is just now being visible to change its path if the designer wants. So if I want, I can click on this and change it to be a little bit more round, so it looks a little more cool. So we have this yellow now doing, if you see, motion tween. So there is an animation being done on the yellow smiley. We need to do the exactly same thing on the blue and green smiley. So let's click on the blue smiley now. This is my blue smiley. I said right click, create motion tween. Yes, please go ahead and convert to symbol. Go in the end, right click, insert keyframe, position, and I want to move this guy from here. You don't need to do this selection again, because when you click on this frame, whatever is inside this frame is already selected. So you click on this and give it a new position. This is a new position, for example. The path is created and you just modify it like this wherever you want it to, uh, whichever path you want it to follow. So now the blue is also done. The last one is my green. I'll select the green now, like this in this case. Right click, create motion tween. Please go ahead, convert to symbol. Okay. And then the last frame, insert keyframe to show what is the end point. The end point of this green smiley should be, it's already selected. Notice, because I've selected this frame, and on this frame only this guy is there. So I modified its end position to here, and I'll make it a little bit more round so it looks a little cool. So if you now run this, you should see all these three smileys moving like this. So this is like this and this is like this. So maybe I need to modify the path a little of smiley. So let's say like this. Okay, and then when you click hit enter or control enter, whatever, you can see the all the animation we have created is now being played, and then we'll see this movement. Okay, so that's how you do your first motion tweening. And since these are three different objects moving different way, we have created these in different layers. So that was my motion tweening. Shape objects, shape graphics and object graphics. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed. Now there are some other tools which you can use, and you can, for example, use this eraser tool. Now you can, remember this, on shape tweening layer you cannot modify anything. This is motion tweening or shape tweening. You cannot modify the using the eraser. On a normal frame, like for example this one, I can select this eraser tool, and I can select this eraser tool and rub this something like this. So this is something which I can do easily, and this is my eraser. You should erase like squares or like dots. If dots, then how big should be the dots? This is something which you can select from here. And similarly, you have your paint bucket. If this paint bucket actually drops paint inside an area, so let's say I select paint bucket and I select which paint, yellow paint. Okay, and let's click outside somewhere and create some shapes like this and like this, etc. So we have some shapes now. So let's go back to the selection and click outside anywhere, so no particular object is selected. Now you select paint bucket, select any other color. Now you can select this color, you can drop it anywhere inside a circle. It will drop as soon as you drop that paint, it will change its color. So this is what you can do. So even if you draw it over here somewhere, which is some enclosure, it will take down that color into it. So let's say we have done this coloring, and you can change these colors to whatever you like, and they will adopt what you have just created. So this is eyedrop paint bucket tool, and similarly you have pencil. You can create something, and as long as this smooth is selected over here, over here, it will smooth out whatever you have created. And if you've selected straighten, it will make it something very close to a line, and let's say like this, and then this is your ink. this will be exactly like manual motion. That's the difference. So this is some introduction of these tools, and I hope you have enjoyed watching this and you liked it. Thank you very much for watching.